if you're not at the risk of bankruptcy at the end of every single month, you're not growing.
I'm at a point where I've like pretty much finished all my cash.
When you have 10, 20, 30, 40 million in the bank in cash, all right, now I have a problem.
Did you buy the Lambo for Instagram?
Everyone thought I was broke, had a lot of cash in the bank. And I'm like, you know what? I got to flex a little bit. So I'm like, I'm just buy the Lambo basically.
I should be disgusted with myself. Today on the podcast, I got a guy that has over 400 Airbnb apartments in America, spread over multiple cities. He's got a massive following on Instagram and social media, and he's a big reason to why I started documenting my journey as well, or at least how I started documenting my journey. Humza, Zafar, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I got so many questions I want to ask you because I've been following you on Instagram for maybe like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I've been like, I got pumped up demand of questions for you. So we'll just get started. So you got just over 400 Airbnb apartments and in America. How long did it take you to set all of these units up?
So I first started Airbnb Arbitrage in about October of 2020, November 2020. And then I basically started from 0 units, 0 anything, and I scaled all the way up till now, a little bit over 3 years. I think I'm at 410 right now. I'll be at 450 by the end of this month. And I have another 50 units starting next month, so hopefully 500 over the next 60 days.
Yeah. That's crazy how fast you're setting this up. So just to be clear for everyone, you're doing pretty much the exact same thing as me. We're subleasing apartments. That's where we rent apartments long-term, then put it on Airbnb, book.com, and try to make a profit.
Right. You guys call it subleasing. We call it arbitrage in America.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And in the UK, it's called rent to rent.
Exactly, yeah. Different names for it, exact same business model.
Yeah, exactly. And how are you able to scale this fast? Like 400 apartments for me, it seems like it would take me 10 years to do that.
So one thing I should definitely note is I have no partners, I have no loans, I have no rich parents, I have no rich friends, no nothing. I started everything by myself, just my wife and I. When we first got married back in 2019, right after I turned 22, I moved to Philadelphia for my job. I was working as an engineer, working my 9 to 5 in Philadelphia. And, I was working a normal job as an engineer, making around $8,000 a month. And that's after taxes. And while I was working that whole first year, I didn't really have any business ideas. All I knew is that I wanted to get rich, but I didn't want to keep working this 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I couldn't do it. It was virtually like it was too slow in my head where like, if I'm going to build wealth, it can't be through this job. So as I'm trying different things with real estate, I tried drop shipping, Amazon, FBA, a bunch of other these side hustles. None of them really stuck or came to any fruition. And then one day in September, I look up Airbnb and Airbnb Arbitrage, come on YouTube. I watch as much free content as I could. And at that time, just got enough of the basics where I decided to start calling landlords and pitching landlords the very next day, all day at work. And then finally got my first property in November of 2020. It was I think it was $2,200 the rent. It was a 4-bedroom townhome in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We put it on Airbnb, my wife and I. We cleaned all the apartments ourselves right after work. I was working the night shift from 8 o'clock to 6 a.m., sleeping 4 hours, cleaning the apartment myself. And that very first month, made about $2,000 in profit, about $4,200 total in revenue.
For how many units?
Just one unit.
Just one unit? Just one unit. 400?
It was about $4,200 in revenue.
40, okay.
Yeah, rent was about 22.
You always talk about revenue. Why don't you just say net profit? Who gives a shit about the revenue?
And so revenue matters in the sense when you're talking about a whole 12-month gap. Because if you tell me your net profit, it doesn't really indicate on how well I can do because my operational costs can be a lot different than yours. Right?
I got you.
Because when I'm looking at comps, especially on AirDNA, and I look at different competitors of mine, I see how much money they're making in revenue. I don't really care about their profit because none of them actually make any money. So I'll give you an example. Sonder is a company in Dubai that just got 400 units in one building in the Business Bay. I know how much revenue they're making, but in terms of profit, they're not making any money. Even in cities that I'm in, whether it's Austin, Dallas, Philadelphia, when I'm actually taking over buildings or even just opening up across the street from them, the profit they make is literally negative. They're burning about 30 cents for every dollar they make. So their profit is there's no profit whatsoever. All I care about is their revenue because then I can plug in my numbers from my operational expenses and actually calculate my actual profit.
I got you. All right. But okay, these 400 apartments you have now, how much are you making like per unit net profit?
So this is a big thing where I've basically been working on over the last 12 months. Originally, when I first started, for example, in Dallas, when I first started in Dallas back in 2021, my rent for apartments was around $800 a month. And for you, it probably seems really low compared to Dubai, but $800 is like a regular Class B apartment.
That's the net profit.
No, that's the rent.
Oh,
that's what the rent was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cheap.
$800 a month was the rent. Yeah.
Okay.
This is in Dallas, Texas, 5 minutes away from downtown. And it's not like Section 8 or anything. It was a really nice apartment. Families lived there and stuff. And on Airbnb, it was making around $2,800 to $3,000 a month during that very first year. But over time, because markets did get saturated and operational expenses did increase, those margins went down. Instead of making $3,000 revenue, it came down to making $2,200 revenue. But then the year after that, it made only $1,800 or even $1,600 in revenue. So now it comes to the question you're asking is it really worth to actually keep these apartments? Because at the same time, the rent also increased from $800 to $900 and to $1,000. So you're getting squeezed on both ends. Your revenue is decreasing and your rent keeps increasing. So your margins are actually getting squeezed, thinner and thinner. So what I've realized over the last year and a half, and what I've done is basically I've cut a huge amount of apartments in my portfolio. Just over the last, I'd say 60 days,
So
I've cut 100 apartments.
Dropping out the ones that are not as profitable.
Correct. I've literally cut 100 apartments just in the last 30 to 60 days.
Dang.
All my leases that I did a year or even 2 years ago ended December 31st. Right now it's January 20th. So about 3 weeks ago, I pretty much cut almost 100 apartments in my portfolio. I sat down with my team at the very end of the year, looked at how much net profit there was at the end of 12 months, and looked at the average RevPARs in each city, were they declining or increasing over a 12-month period. And I saw, okay, these cities actually have decreasing RevPARs and the rents are increasing for the apartments.
RevPARs, what does that mean?
RevPAR is basically the ADR times your occupancy. Because when I ask somebody,
average daily rate times
your occupancy.
Okay, just how much they're making in a month. Yeah.
Because if I ask somebody what's your occupancy and they tell me 100%, that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Or I ask somebody what's your ADR, that also means nothing.
Yeah.
RevPAR is a good indicator on how profitable a city or location is when you compare it to a RevPAR index. A RevPAR index is what your comp is making per month. So when you take your RevPAR and you compare it to your competitor's RevPAR, if it's above 100, that means you're in a good market, you're doing really well. If it's equal to 100, you're on par, and if it's less than 100, you're actually trending downwards. Okay. So you don't want that.
But so, do you know, like, if you're making like $800 per month average on all the units?
No, so let me finish that. So as I was saying, so generally that was how my margins were. What I realized over the last few months and the last year really is I need to cut those apartments out and start taking my entire portfolio and doing higher end luxury apartments only. So a lot of my portfolio was the rent was $1,000 to $1,200 a month, and they were making $2,000 to $2,200. After cleaning, housekeeping, and everything, maybe I'm making $400 in profit, $500 in profit, not really much. Now I have a lot of units. Well, this is a big part of my portfolio now where I'm going towards where the rent is $3,000, but they're making $6,000. They're making $7,000. The rent's $2,500. They're making $5,000. That's really a big part of my portfolio now is really trending towards. So I've cut almost 100 units that were at that $1,200 to $1,500 in rent range. And I'm trying to get higher end luxury, bigger units that the rent is a lot higher, but the amount of revenue you're making is also a lot higher too. Where even if your rent does increase by $100, it doesn't really pressurize you because your margin is still so high and your revenue is so high, you still have a lot of meat on the bone after all your operational expenses.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. So
to summarize your question, on average right now, gross profits, I think I'm trending towards, at least for this year, on my $10 million in revenue, I did about 2.2 million take home, which is about 22%.
2.2 million in 2023.
Yeah, 2.2 million in 2023 on 10 million in revenue. So about 22% net profit.
Nice.
For 2024, now that those 100 units are gone and the units I'm adding now are really high-end upscale luxury units, I think I should be able to do at least 30 to 35% take home net profit. And that's after all the operational expenses, salaries, wages, after everything.
Yeah. So you could potentially be left with a profit of about like $3 to $4 million.
That's assuming I do 10 million. But this year, I think I should do at least 20 million in revenue.
Oh yeah. If you manage to scale your portfolio.
No, just by at 500 units. Okay. Which is what I'll be at in the next 60 days. And if I expand nothing, keep everything the exact same as it is, and don't spend a single dollar on expanding, I'll do a minimum of $20 million this year, I think.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
Take home at least, at the very minimum, 30% of that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And what is the goal? Are you just going to keep expanding this, or are you not like thinking about going into buying apartments or doing something a little bit different?
So generally that is my goal. That is where I want to get to. But if the opportunity comes, right, where I'm being offered such good deals on such good terms, it's sort of a no-brainer where I can just take it on, right, without any issues. Obviously, I don't mind buying. My thing is I can't really buy anything that has a mortgage attached to it. So I have to buy everything in cash. I can't go buy a $10 million building.
Because you're not American?
No, because so like religious reasons, because I'm Muslim, I try to stay away from interest, right, as much as I can. So I have to buy everything in cash. Like the Lamborghini I bought it all cash, right? 220 grand. Smart person would have just financed it, right? $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month in a finance payment, take the rest of the cash and go buy real estate, go and expand your business. I couldn't do that, so I just have to buy it in cash. Anything I have to do in terms of, the business, no loan whatsoever. It has to only be 0% interest business credit cards. That's it.
Yeah, dude, I'm all for like leveraging like mortgages, financing.
Oh, trust me, it's the best thing ever. I would love to. I would love to go tomorrow and go buy a $10 million building going 20% down. That'd be the dream, but I can't do that.
So you just don't do that because of your religion reasons. Wow, that's good. And what so before we go into I want to understand your story a little better. But what locations are the best, like the hot locations now for subleasing or Airbnb arbitrage in America? Like what cities would you recommend?
Yeah, so every city makes money. You can go all the way from small little towns in Alabama, all the way to Miami, to Vegas, to California. Every city in America makes money, right? It just depends on what specific subsection of that city and what product or what quality type you have. For example, right now, if you go to Austin, Texas, Austin was booming 3 years ago. You know where Austin is, right? Have you heard of Austin?
Yeah.
Booming city, okay? Joe Rogan moved there, Elon Musk moved there, everybody was going there, and it was booming in 2021. Well, your average rents were $1,200-$1,400 a month, and you were making like $4,000 a month in revenue. Like you're making $2,000, almost $2,500 in profit per unit, and you could put the cheapest $3,000 worth of furniture in there, barely have any good reviews, and that's how much money you'd make. That has changed. It's not the case anymore because so many people got into Austin, the market got saturated, and the demand still is really high, but the supply increased exponentially. Demand couldn't really keep up. But that doesn't mean the city itself is saturated. It means that product at that certain quantity level is saturated. For example, studios and one bedrooms. There's a huge oversupply of studios and one bedrooms because the barrier to entry is very low. But 4-bedroom houses that have pools, those you can rent for $3,500 to $4,000. And just over the last few months, they would have made at least $8,000 to $10,000 per month. There's not a huge supply of those, and there's a huge demand for those type of big houses in Austin. So that's why I tell people all the time, just because you're in a market that you think is saturated doesn't really mean the entire market is. It just means there's a certain type of product, at a certain bedroom size that is saturated.
I got you. So what? Just a fun question. So say in maybe 6 months or something, the summer's coming in Dubai, it's getting very hot, I want to leave Dubai for a little bit. What city would you tell me to keep in mind if I wanted to go to America and just set up like 10 units or something like that?
For Airbnb or for vacation?
Airbnb arbitrage.
Honestly, it depends, man, because the thing is, summertime, right, it's going to be very slow. So you want to enter markets that are also very slow in their slow season. So the East Coast, where I make all my money, it's going to be very, very hard to get any deals. But if you go to places like Florida...
Why is it slow in summer? Isn't summer the peak season?
No, it's slow for example, it's going to be slow for you, right? Because, for example, summer is peak for multifamily and for Airbnb arbitrage. So it's going to be slow for you where you can't get 2-3 months of free rent. You can't find 10, 20, 30 vacant apartments. You're not going to find desperate landlords.
Gotcha.
Now, if you go to a place like Florida or you go to Arizona, where right now it's their peak season, same as Dubai, they kill it right now. So you're not going to get any deals right now. But in the summer... that's where you're going to find the best deals possible in Florida and Arizona. Specifically in Arizona, where you'll get the best deals. You get 2 months free, 3 months free, no problem. You can get 10, 20, 30 units. And then starting basically November, December, that's when high season picks up.
Okay. I gotcha. But what cities are you in? I heard you're in Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia.
Yeah, so I'm in Pittsburgh, Philly, Detroit, Austin, Dallas, and Cleveland.
But do you have to hire a special team of cleaners and runners for each location?
Correct. You have to have operational teams on the ground and operational teams on the back end for each separate location.
It sounds like a lot of work but But do you like when you're trying to get new units now? Do you try to find units that are close to where your teams are already located, or are you just
Yeah. So for example, downtown Dallas, I have 100 apartments just downtown alone.
Okay.
Each apartment on average makes about $4,000 a month in downtown Dallas. So I'm making $400,000 a month just from Dallas alone, right? It wouldn't make sense for me to get apartments that are 30 minutes away from downtown or even 40 minutes away because my entire team is all downtown. So we're not going to send people out, 34-minute, 40-minute drive just to clean 2-3 apartments. Makes no sense. So I just focused on one area, which was downtown, zoned in on it, and basically just took over the entire market.
Gotcha. So why are you in Dubai? Are you thinking about setting up shop here?
No,
or
I'm going to Saudi Arabia tomorrow for Umrah. So that's basically came for 2 days, 3 days to have some fun and, visit. And that's pretty much it. I was looking at Dubai in terms of starting Airbnb arbitrage. But for me, it's like, there's a few things, right? One is operational efficiencies. If I were to, start Airbnb here, I'd have to come stay here for at least a month or two just to get the teams ready, right? Hire the right people, get everything in place. I don't have the time to do that right now. Because for example, if I wanted to, get 50 apartments, let's say tomorrow in Philadelphia, with 3 techs, I'd have 20 people show up tomorrow and have everything done all the way from signing leases, ordering furniture, getting everything built out, walls painted, photography taken, listings created, set up in price labs. 3 techs, that's all it takes. Dubai, I'd have to come fly out here by myself, hire a brand new team, do everything from scratch.
And you have to figure everything out too, because everything is different.
Correct, everything is different.
For me, coming from Iceland to Dubai, it was a learning curve, dude.
I can figure it out.
Of course you can.
I figure it out.
Yeah.
When you have money, you throw money at people, you can get the answers you need.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I have noticed in Dubai, there's 2 good things. Number one is when I was booking my Airbnb, for example, a couple days ago, almost every single listing I found had horrible reviews. The reviews in Dubai are horrible. And I mean horrible. Like everything had 4.4s, 4.3s, 4.5, 4.6s. It's like nobody really cares in terms of housekeeping. They just hire whoever they can, and that's basically it.
Yeah,
the apartments look nice. People spend a lot of money on the design of the apartments, but the reviews that really, really matter a lot, especially in the US, over here they're lacking. And that's something I know where I can bring a lot of value in and really help with. But also at the same time, I see a lot of more competition now entering Dubai. Like for example, Sonder, they just opened that 400-unit building in the Business Bay. They have another 500-unit building coming up too, all arbitrage subleased, right? So they're a big.
Sonders, who's that? Is that?
They're the biggest rental arbitrage company in the entire world. The guy who started it, he was just like me. Okay. He's actually from Canada too, from Quebec. He then started it from Montreal. Got a lot of VC funding and then grew the company to over, I think he has almost 10,000 units now. They went public, valued over $1 billion. The stocks actually crashed 95% since then, but still, nonetheless, they're all over the world now.
Wow. And are you saying they took over like a whole building? In Business Bay, which is like close to downtown.
Yeah. You can go on Airbnb right now and find their listings. They have 400 units now.
Damn. How do you even work out a deal like that?
Oh, so that's the deals I'm working on right now. Yeah. So like, for example,
that's why you can expand so fast, because you take on these group
Correct.
deals.
Yeah. Like doing 1 or 2 units at a time, like you're doing right now. I was in your shoes. Every single deal is a negotiation with the landlord. Yeah. Every single negotiation is with a personality. Then, it's a lot more personal. You're more personally involved than you really want to be. And that's how I originally started. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Until I got to 50 units, I'm like, that's not really going to work. I got to figure out how I can get 10, 20 units at a time. Problem is, over here, what I've noticed that you're really negotiating with an individual landlord. You're not really negotiating with the entire building per se. Is that true?
Yeah, mostly agents though. It's all through agents.
We don't do any agents whatsoever in America.
Yeah.
Zero agent involvement.
Same in Iceland. No agents.
No agents whatsoever. Yeah. And the problem is like, how are you going to find buildings that have 20, 30 vacant units here? True. Unless it's a brand new building just starting. For example, this new deal in Philadelphia, it's a brand new construction, brand new building. In Philly, 50 apartments, right? It's brand new. If it wasn't brand new, I'm not going to find 50 vacant apartments.
I got you. Crazy. All right, so a little bit about you. You're from Canada.
Canada, yeah.
Where in Canada?
We're a small town across the border from Detroit called Windsor, Ontario.
Okay. And you grow up and you study engineering, right?
Electrical engineering was my bachelor's degree, minor in computer science and mathematics.
You finish that?
Yeah.
Start working for a company?
Yep.
You hate it?
I hate it. And then I actually applied to do my master's in machine learning and AI at Georgia Tech, got accepted. It was my first semester at Georgia Tech doing the master's. And then I realized, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start this Airbnb business. And if it takes off and I start making money, we'll quit the master's and we'll go with this. We can always go back to school and do it later. And here we are.
Yeah. That's wild. All right, let's go into like strategy. I want to know, we talked about, for me, I posted on my Instagram, like I'm always debating if I want to bring in investors.
Yep. Good question.
Because right now, I'm at a point where I've like pretty much finished all my cash.
Yep.
And I can only use my profits from other units to expand. And I can only expand maybe like 3 or 4 apartments every month.
Yep.
But if I want to expand faster than that, I need some like get a loan or something like that. How do you work on with this problem?
Okay. So in America, we have business credit cards, and compared to Canada, it's night and day. And I don't know how it is in Dubai, but in America, like let's say, for example, you start a business tomorrow, you can go to Chase and get $100,000, 0% APR, no questions asked, no collateral needed, no personal guarantee needed, $100,000, it's 0%. Basically, you don't have to pay anything for an entire year, and you can get that. You might be able to get 150 even. So a lot of people in America get access to capital very easily, very quickly. So business credit is one thing that really I've used over the last, let's say, 3 years to really help grow the expansion. I have almost $700,000 in business credit cards. But let's say you use all that and then you're out. Then really all you can use is the profits from your actual business. And I know it's counterproductive to say this, but there's nothing wrong with growing slow and steady. Front Desk, for example, is a big arbitrage company. One of my biggest competitors. They had about 1,100 units, or maybe I think they had 1,000 units. They went bankrupt 2 weeks ago. January 2nd, they actually declared bankruptcy. They expanded way too fast, way too quickly. They're also expanding in markets that are on the same markets that were actually getting saturated, where rents were increasing, but revenues were decreasing and RevPARs were decreasing. All those factors combined with huge overhead, huge American wages they had to pay, they went bankrupt completely. They expanded way too fast because they were using corporate money. They're using VC funding. When it's not your actual money, people that you hire, they don't really care about where that money's going. Every single dollar I spend is a dollar out of my pocket, my family's pocket, my future children's pocket. Every dollar that I make is a dollar that I keep, right? So you're very, very more conservative with where your money's going when you have no VC funding involved, no outside funding involved. And at the end of the day, when you do make a lot of money, you're not sharing with anybody. No one can tell you can and can't do with that money. You can go tomorrow and buy a supercar for $200K. No one's gonna tell you, hey, half that's mine. No one's gonna tell you, hey, I want you working for the next 6-7 months, no vacations. It's your money at the end of the day. You have no one's answer to. My main thing was, if I'm going to quit my job, I need to start a business where no one can tell me what I can or can't do with my time or with my money. The minute I take VC funding or any type of institutional backing, that pretty much goes away. So I highly recommend you do keep doing what you're doing. Do not go out looking for partners or VC funding.
VC funding, is that just a loan with a fixed percentage that you have to pay?
No, VC funding means venture capital. So for example, let's say you have 10 apartments right now. They'll give you, let's say, $100,000 for, let's say, 25% of your business. So they'll be a partner with you in your business for a certain investment.
Yeah. The credit cards. So because this is something new to me, we don't really have this in Iceland, in Dubai, I can only get a business loan if the company's 1 year old or more. Yeah. So I'm waiting for that to happen, and then I'm going for that for sure. But the business card or credit card in America, so you can get like $100,000 that you can use the credit card to spend, and you don't have to pay any interest on it for the first year.
Correct.
And after the year is over, do you have to pay it all back?
You have to pay everything back, correct.
So you're just gonna like set up apartments with this $100,000, and you're gonna use the profits to pay it back.
Yeah.
Before
exactly
the year.
And you can actually do it a lot quicker, because in America we get concessions a lot. So whenever I negotiate deals, I get 2 months free, 3 months free. So I'll give you an example. I recently did an entire building in Pittsburgh. It was a 45 unit building. I got about 2.5 months of free rent up front. So the entire first, I'd say 3 weeks, spent furnishing the building, getting it all ready, set up. And the next almost 2 months, I didn't have to pay any rent. And that means the entire purchase was put on one business credit card, no rent paid for the next 2 months. So every dollar I made was pretty much all profit, right? Minus your housekeeping. So maybe 70% of that business credit card was paid off in the first 60 days. And the remaining 30% was paid off a few weeks later. So really you can scale so fast, so quick when you have concessions involved and a business credit card. With those two things, you scale so quicker.
So me as a foreigner, if I would start a business in America, I don't even know how that works. But if I start a business in America, would that company or business be able to get a credit card?
No. So I'm Canadian, right? Yeah. When I first started in America, I could not get a business credit card either. You have to basically spend about 6 to 8 months building your business credit. You have to get a secured credit card. You basically give them $1,000. It's sort of like a deposit. You use that credit card in everyday purchases. Then over time, slowly 6 months to about 8 months later, that business credit card, your business credit profile starts getting stronger, starts getting built up. Then finally, after about a year, after you have some good business credit established, some good trade lines, then you can go to the bank and open, these $100,000 business credit cards.
How did you expand in the beginning then if you didn't have any?
My job.
Oh,
I was making $8,000 a month
course, yeah.
after taxes. My car was paid for from my company. My gas was paid for.
Yeah.
My wife and I were living on as low as possible. Our rent was $1,000 a month. We lived, in a really, really bad area of Philly. We didn't go anywhere, didn't go to restaurants, didn't do anything. The only things we did were free things. So every dollar that I made, I saved as much as I possibly could.
Yeah. And concessions, right? Too.
Concessions helped a lot.
Concessions means that you get like
3 months up front.
3 months. Yeah. You don't have to pay the first month or two.
Correct.
I've managed to get like 2 weeks free here in Dubai, but getting any more than that is kind of hard because I feel like in Dubai,
it's hard right now because you're in high season. Wait till summertime.
Yeah.
I promise you, there's a lot of new construction going on in Dubai, and a lot of landlords are sitting on vacant apartments doing absolutely nothing. Wait till summer, you're going to see the rents drop and you're going to see concessions being offered.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. So when I got to Dubai, my first units I actually got in like August, which were low season.
Yep.
So and then I could really feel like landlords were, hurting.
Yep.
So my best 2 units were my first 2 units because I got them in August.
Because the rent's the cheapest also, I assume?
That they're by far the cheapest. Like I got them for like 130,000 dirhams, and now the same exact units cost like 165,000 dirhams. So it's like pretty big increases. So yeah, looking forward to summer, and hopefully we can do some big expanding then. But what about? But I still think that America, like landlords in Dubai, they have much more leverage here than the tenants. I feel like. Is it in America? Is it mostly like the tenants that have leverage over the landlords?
Pretty much in almost every state.
Yeah.
You go to California, New York, I can go rent an apartment, stop paying my rent 30 days later. It might take the landlord 1 year to get me out and $1,000 of legal fees. America is generally, depends on the state, but generally most states are very tenant friendly. They're very democratic. So they're very, very heavily favored tenants.
In Iceland, it's crazy. If you want to rent an apartment in Iceland, good luck. It's like, if you put up any apartment on rent in Iceland, it goes like that. It's like the landlord have all the leverage, but still you can't really raise the rents too much because then everybody just goes crazy. You kind of just have to follow the market, and but as soon as you post an apartment, it just goes right away. What about virtual assistants? I have a team of virtual assistants in Pakistan that do all the communication for me. What about you?
You mind me asking why in Pakistan?
So when I started, I didn't know how to find a virtual assistant. I did this when I was at like 6 apartments in Iceland. I was like, okay, I need some help with the communication. I went on Fiverr. You know Fiverr?
Yeah.
It's a website where you can find a bunch of people that do like stuff for you online. And I found somebody there. He was from Pakistan. We started working together, and it worked pretty well. It's just a guy that I communicate with, and he has a team. So it's basically like an agency.
Okay.
It works well, but it's not perfect.
Okay.
That's
so after this, I'm going to give you some of my VAs to basically have. I have an entire team of 25 VAs that run the entire business from A to Z. I do absolutely nothing. Like I don't even have the Airbnb app on my phone anymore. Yeah. The app is gone. I have 400 units, right? Yeah. So all I see at the end of every single day is a daily report on Slack, and that's pretty much it. That's all I really care about. That's all I really need to know. You as a founder, 50% of your time should be dedicated on revenue management and maximizing your revenue. Everything else from operation efficiency to guest communication, customer service, these are non-revenue producing activities, right? The ROI is not worth for you to actually spend time doing. Your VA should be handling everything. I have all my VAs all hired from Philippines. Every single one of them have previously worked at Airbnb before.
All of them?
All of them. Every single one of them. So BPO stands for Business Process Outsourcing. BPO companies, a lot of them are all set up in the Philippines. Airbnb's customer service, their entire customer service staff, when you call in and wait on hold for an hour, where they're located? In the Philippines. So almost every single person you can find that used to work at Airbnb is going to be looking for a job, whether it's work from home, remote, whatever it is. And you can hire for your own business, and they already know Airbnb's in and outs. They already know everything. They know exactly what to do, what not to say. They know everything because they used to work there for the last 3-4 years. Yeah. So I only hire level 2 case managers or higher. I have a strict interview process. Then we have a really fast onboarding schedule for them, and we get them up to par really, really quick. If I hire a new VA tomorrow, it should take them about 72 hours. they should know everything. Or if a guest asks how to turn the fridge on in this unit, in that city, in that building, they'll know the answer within the next 5 seconds. So Filipino VAs by far is the best.
Yeah.
After we finish this podcast, I'll hook you up with a few of mine.
Nice. That sounds good. But what do you mean hook you up with yours? Are you just gonna drop them off to
I'll
me?
just drop them off. I'll give you a number and that's it. I have a lot in the pipeline. I run through VAs a lot, so I have 25 I currently use. I have 15 in the back burner.
Okay.
So I have them rotating in and out.
Okay, man, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Because my guy in Pakistan, I really like him.
The accent's hard, bro.
Yeah.
I hired originally.
But the thing is,
I'm Pakistani myself, dude.
Oh, you are?
I am. So I originally hired VAs from India and Pakistan before when I first started, but guests were complaining saying we can't understand what they're talking about, what they're saying. In the Philippines, a lot of the schooling is actually completely westernized, where they're you would honestly have no idea talking to my Filipino VAs if you have any clue if they're actually in the Philippines or not. You'd think they're actually American because English is so good, you couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, that's crazy. How much are you paying per hour?
So I'd go salary wise on a per month basis. So if we extrapolate it over a span of a month per hour, it's about $4.50 to $6 an hour, depending on the skill level. So it ends up being around $600 to $800 a month. Yeah. My very, very best VAs make around $1,600 to $1,500 a month. My second tier level VAs will do around $1,000 to $1,200, and then everybody else is around $600 to $800.
Nice. I posted a video. I don't know if you saw it, where I was looking for actually a virtual assistant in the Philippines to just handle my Airbnb setup, like setting up the listings, because my Pakistani guys don't do that. And I just set my phone up like this, and I was just interviewing her, posted a little clip, got 500,000 views. And everybody, all the comments are just, I put it in the caption, it's looking for a $5 an hour virtual assistant. Everybody in the comments were just cursing me, saying I was, finding slaves and it was slavery and I should be disgusted with myself. It was bad, dude.
So the whole way I blew up so fast on social media originally, on Instagram and TikTok, was I would make videos, I don't know if you remember this, where I'd be at the building furnishing 20, 30 apartments, and I would make a TikTok saying, just hired all these guys from inside of Home Depot for $3 an hour and show them all working. Literally, I have videos that have 1 million views, 1.5 million views, 2 million views, hundreds, even thousands of comments saying I'm the worst person ever. It's not true. I'm being sarcastic. I'm making a joke, but saying why are you hiring people for $6 an hour, $7 an hour? But that's really how you gain notoriety on social media, is posting controversial videos.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, same thing when I posted that video of me trying to get a refund from Ryan Pineda. I bought this course from Ryan Pineda and it wasn't really what it sounded like, and I was trying to get a refund. And I posted a video of that, and that got 500,000 views as well. So yeah, the controversy thing makes. So let's talk about that a little bit, like your social media journey. So you are at 160,000 followers right now on Instagram. Yeah, and you make a lot of videos, very good value videos. If you watch your content, it's I learned a lot from you. By the way, the biggest thing I learned from you was, and what I implement in everything I do now is just to maximize the beds. How many people can sleep in each unit. I can sleep 8 people in all my 2-bedroom apartments.
Perfect, yeah.
Because I put 2 queen size beds in 1 bedroom, use a sleeping sofa. I definitely picked that up
Sleeper
from you.
sofa in every single living room.
Exactly.
2 beds in one of the 2 bedrooms. In the other bedroom, have a king or a queen, and you sleep 8 people, no problem.
Exactly.
If you really want to get crazy with it, you might be able to squeeze 10 people in there, but it really depends.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people challenge me on that, saying it creates parties and it's more wear and tear on the apartment and stuff like that. What do you say to that?
So in terms of it create parties, not necessarily true. You have families that have 10 people that want to book your apartment, right? It all depends on who you're letting in the door in the first place, right? True. So anyone can throw a party. Even you can throw a party in a studio apartment, right? It really depends on who you're actually letting in. And also at the same time, if you do a lot of experiment, or even right now, go on Airbnb and I look for a 2-bedroom apartment, thousands will show up. But if I click a 2-bedroom apartment that has 5 beds, that sleeps 10 people, maybe only 75 will show up, right? Yeah. So you're actually filtering down your competition by 80% just by adding more beds and sleeping more people.
Yeah, it's crucial, man. I think Dubai is a hard market for Airbnb arbitrage for sure. When people look at my Instagram, they think it's super easy, but it is hard. And I think this thing has helped me, stand out. And
100%. But you have to look at it too, right? If I were to start Airbnb in Dubai, I would never even get anything less than a 3-bedroom because I wanted, let's say for example, a studio or 1 bedroom. if you're coming here and you're with your wife or a boyfriend, girlfriend, you're going to a hotel, right? Right now, I can book the Ritz-Carlton or even the St. Regis Hotel for $275, $350 a night right now. Not that expensive, right? So at that point, am I paying $350 for the St. Regis, right? With all the hotel amenities and everything offered? Or am I paying, maybe $50 less for an Airbnb? That's not the best. So you're really competing with hotels at that point, anything lower than a 3-bedroom. Because the majority of people that do come to Dubai are people with families or friends. They're the people who are actually going to basically be paying a lot because you're going to split the cost, over a certain amount of people. Anything less than 3 bedrooms, I wouldn't be doing.
Exactly. But you have a lot of 1-bedroom apartments in America.
Well, because not all my cities rely on just tourism. Dubai is really, really heavy on tourism. I don't know if you noticed. If tourism, for example, shuts down tomorrow, everyone here is going bankrupt. All of my cities have a lot of business travel where everyone's basically traveling for work, right? So Philadelphia, for example, is a big commuter city with New York. So a lot of people come to New York. A lot of people come to Pittsburgh. They literally there for school, for work, right? No one really comes to Dubai for university, right? From overseas. Everyone comes here for tourism, which is the biggest thing here. So all my cities, I make sure there's something there other than just, tourism.
Yeah. So if COVID happens or some shuts down, you're still going to have people that
even when COVID did happen, even in slow season right now, all my apartments are getting relatively booked really well because I have other things happening that are completely unrelated to tourism.
Exactly. Back to your social media journey. How did you blow up? What?
Dude, honestly, I didn't know anything about social media. I just started posting videos of me with my Hispanic crew and saying I paid them $5 an hour, post those videos, and they just keep hitting like 1 million, 2 million views, and the views kept coming in, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's literally no secret sauce behind it. That's all I did.
When did you start posting on Instagram? Was it?
I'd probably say after like my second unit.
Okay, very early.
I've been posting my journey since day one.
Do you know what the first video I saw from you?
Which one?
It was your first YouTube video.
No
where
way.
You were talking about Dubai. Because I was searching so hard for somebody doing this in Dubai.
Yeah.
So I searched like Airbnb arbitrage Dubai. And you're like very low quality like
Was
video.
it sitting in like a kitchen?
Yeah, you were sitting like
was it about quitting my 9 to 5?
You were just saying that you were living in Dubai, living the good life or something like that.
Yeah,
it was like a 40-minute video or 20-minute video.
Yeah. Okay.
Your first video on YouTube.
It was me on a kitchen table, using not even a cell phone, using like a Samsung phone, very low quality, and I just was basically talking about how I am in Dubai currently right now at the moment. I was on vacation at that time. This is about 2 years ago, and how I have an Airbnb business and it's fully automated. It lets me travel the world and live my life. That's the video you're talking about.
Yeah, so I was like, yes, finally found somebody that's doing this in Dubai. But then it was like, no, you were just in Dubai, but you do this in America. Exactly. But yeah, I think that's the reason why I kind of got a lot of views and followers is just because nobody's documenting this in Dubai. Correct. I was just the only guy.
And in general, nobody has a real business, if you have noticed. A lot of people that talk about Airbnb arbitrage don't really have real businesses. They have 2, 3, 4, 5 units. And then after that, they're just sitting in front of a camera, shaking their head like this over and over again, talking about random bullshit that they hear from somebody else. They don't have real businesses. In the United States, it's very, very few amount of people that have a real arbitrage business and they manage to scale up. Majority of them don't have businesses. They just make content over the 5 or 10 units that they actually have.
Yeah, that's crazy. So your journey, do you feel like you're stagnating right now, or are you still growing on social media? What's
for social media, like right now, I just literally just post my daily life, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm going out of my way to go do something. It's literally whatever I'm doing, I'm just documenting it. The views definitely have decreased. The followings have decreased. But it's not like, my main concern. I don't make a living on social media, right? My whole thing is to grow the actual Airbnb empire to 1,000 units. And along that journey, I'm documenting everything.
Yeah.
And if I get views, if I don't get any views, it doesn't really matter to me.
True. Yeah, that's the key. Just document. Don't think about I
just document everything I do.
Exactly.
That's it.
But I do think like over the past 2 months or 3 months, your stuff has been becoming more engaging. Have you been doing any changes or?
Not well. I've been furnishing a lot more units. That's pretty much it. I had a daughter about 8 months ago. So for those first 5 months, I didn't really leave the house, dude. I would just chill at home. Didn't really make much content. I wasn't flying anywhere to set up units. My team was doing it for me. Now that she's a little bit older now, I'm actually going out, flying the city here and there, making a lot more engaging content because I'm actually in the trenches, in the weeds, documenting everything. Yeah. It's hard to do that when you're in your penthouse and just talking on a camera.
True. Yeah. What I don't see I thought about this earlier today. All these big real estate guys on Instagram like Ryan Pineda, Pace Morby, Grant Cardone, they all post like their family a lot, but I don't see you post your family at all.
No, wife you'll never see on social media. Daughter's face is always covered.
Yeah.
I don't know. Me personally, I just don't see a reason to. But a lot of people, want to post their family. A lot of people want to post their wives and girlfriends and kids on social media. There's nothing wrong with it. Do you? Just me personally, there's really no need to.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. Funny thing, like, I don't know if you noticed, but my Instagram, like with the things I do, a lot of the things I just been copying.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah, you noticed.
When I first saw your videos, I'm like, what the heck? This sounds like the exact same as mine. The format, the editing, the wording, it's literally the exact copy of all my videos, which is cool.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that.
You're good with that?
But I could care less, man.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is about social media.
Just shout me up, bro. I'll be like, yo, this is Humza Zafar right here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the thing is about social media is like you can't just invent the wheel. You just gotta find what's working.
You can invent the wheel by being yourself, by being authentic.
True, but that's the thing. You can see
the reason why I blew up is because I was authentic.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you can see what other people are doing, what's working for them, and make it your own. But just see like what kind of style works, like what kind of video is engaging, and then I just make my own video.
Yeah, make your own twist around it, make your own different play around it. It's fine.
Exactly. And like the first video I got viral was the third video I posted. It got like 300,000 views. That was like just the video where I
think that was the one that I saw.
Probably.
On TikTok, I think it was.
Yeah. It's just like taking a video of the unit and saying, just rent this apartment, just rent this apartment. And it's like, paid this amount in furniture, blah, blah, blah. Just exactly what you did.
Yeah.
I saw one of your video like that got like 1 million plus.
Yeah, 1 million plus views. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I really like that you do is how you put, like, every month you say exactly how much you made.
Yep, how much I made and how much I lost. Those are two big things.
You also say exactly how much you lost because sometimes you lose in the slow season. And then you put it in your story and then you put it in your highlight. So people can actually track how much you made each month.
Correct.
Back
since I started.
That's super engaging.
I'm building the company in public. For example, this is the month of January. This is my worst month of the entire year. I'll probably lose 100,000 this month.
Okay.
All right. I'm cool with it because as soon as April hits, I'll probably make 1.5 million, 1.4 million, and I'll probably take home 400,000, 500,000 in net profit. So I'm okay with losing 100,000 in January, but I have to show the world that because this is all my markets are all on the East Coast of the United States where they do really well, outside of January and February.
Yeah, I gotcha. So about like you've been looking at my social media a little bit. I think what do you think I'm missing?
Honestly, dude, you're doing good, man. You just don't need to, think about it. Just live your life and just keep posting whatever you're posting. Keep posting the daily stuff you're posting. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't need to go, rent a supercar, or drive, crazy cars, or wear expensive clothes, or wear a crazy watch, or do anything. Just literally live your very true, authentic life. Document your journey and share losses and wins along the way.
True, man. That's the key. Did you buy the Lambo for Instagram?
No, I actually bought it because where I live in Canada, everyone thought I was broke because I quit my job, right? My community doesn't really quit their job. And I just came off of high season, so I had a lot of cash in the bank. And I'm like, you know what? I got to flex a little bit. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just buy the Lambo basically. Yeah. So I went, to Montreal, flew there. I think I spent like $340 in cash, Canadian dollars. I just bought it, and then I kid you not, after a week, I'm like, all right, I'm over it now.
Yeah.
Man, that's literally how it is. Like, I literally, outside of Dubai, I see all these nice supercars. I'm like, bro, I have one. I see other people that have one. Yeah. It's not as exciting after I finally buy it.
Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy it? Like, still?
No, bro, I haven't driven in like 5 months. It's just sitting in the penthouse garage right now. I'm paying $200 a month just for the garage itself, and then on top, the insurance and everything just sits there. Yeah. I don't really drive it. After I had the baby, like, where am I gonna go? My wife and I would take it all the time for restaurants. We'd go to Nobu and really nice places in the Lambo. Pull up, young in our 20s, and everyone's staring at it and stuff. That'd be nice. But after the baby, dude, we're taking the Toyota.
Yeah, exactly. So are you thinking about selling it, or are you just gonna keep it?
I'm probably gonna trade it in during this high season. Probably gonna upgrade to a Lamborghini Urus.
Oh, makes sense.
So I can put the car seat in the back.
Yeah, those cars look nice. Look nice. Yeah. I'm
not really a big car guy, dude. To be honest, not really.
Me neither.
I
for sure.
literally, honestly, don't really care too much about cars. Some people make cars their whole personalities.
Yeah.
I literally do not care. The minute someone's talking like too much in detail about the certain mod and certain exhaust,
then
I'm
you
like,
zone out.
Bro,
Yeah, me too.
I literally don't care. I could care less.
Yeah, dude. Because you got a really nice penthouse as well that you live in. I've always liked living in good apartments, but for cars, like, I don't know if you relate at all, but I've always been like kind of like shy to flex. You know what I mean? Like even when I was in Iceland, I was buying like just a Tesla.
Yeah.
Because in Iceland, Teslas were like really, like, I don't know. In Iceland, everybody's pretty much the same. Everybody just drives an inexpensive car. Everybody lives a normal life. And it was like, if you got a Tesla, you, especially at my age, like 25, when I bought it, you kind of stand out. So I've always been like kind of shy of flexing, you know? Do you relate to that at all, or you just don't give a shit?
Not really, bro. It is what it is, you know? The majority of the world is, you know, they're going to hate on whatever the reason is because they want to get to your position. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to flex to remind everybody, you know, who you are. And you're worked hard to get to this point.
I got you. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so back to some Airbnb strategy, like your pricing, because pricing is huge. That's what I probably think about.
50% of your time as a founder should be dedicated to pricing.
Yeah, and exactly. I probably most of my time goes to that and just making sure that I'm maximizing the revenue. And obviously, both of us use a software called Price Labs. Everybody uses Price Labs that knows what they're doing. I guess 1&1 uses like Wheelhouse or something like that. But how would you explain your pricing strategy?
So for me, my pricing strategy in 2022 was a lot different now than 2023. In 2022, in November, December, January, and February, those 4 months, I lost $250,000 because my pricing strategy took into account assuming that this winter was going to be the same as last winter, which is not the case. It's actually way worse. So this winter, I did the complete opposite approach and basically started lowering my pricing a lot further out for that slower months. That way I can make sure I get something on the books just to break even and cover my costs and to basically get those lead times a lot better. That way I won't lose as much money. So for example, last November, I lost $50,000. This November, I made $200,000. This is profit, by the way. Okay. Last December, I lost $60K, and this is on like 200 units. This December, I made about $100K, right, on 400 units. So it's like, you know, it's complete opposite. I did a complete 180 basically. I completely destroyed slow season. Now last January, I lost 150 on 200 units. Now that I have 400, by the same math, I should be losing 300, right? I'm probably only gonna lose 100 this month, which is not bad. That's a win for me because I doubled my unit count, but my loss has pretty much stayed, they're actually a lot less. So my goal now is to basically during slow season, start decreasing my prices way further out, way ahead of time. That way I can capture those bookings as much as possible. That way I can at least cover my costs and just break even for those slow months.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to hear you say that because that's the conclusion I've come to as well. Everybody I talk to, all the friggin' experts, you know, say that, you know, they mostly just get booked last minute. They just keep their prices into the future super high. Even
people are retarded, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they're not retarded, but
they're retarded. Every single revenue manager, every single big player in this business who has 1,000+ units under their belt are starting to follow the same strategy now. Yeah. Sandra, for example, just announced in a public press release that they're actually implementing the exact same strategy that I started doing 6-7 months ago. They just announced this about 2 months ago, and for their entire portfolio now.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is like come low season and you don't have any bookings.
And your prices are sky high, and now you're getting the worst clientele, the worst crowd. Yeah. Every single day that passes by is $1 you're never going to recoup, right? Yeah. So I'd rather have that book. Every $1 you make after a cleaning fee is revenue in your pocket, right? So especially during slow season, you need to make sure you get whatever booking you can just to cover your operational expenses, just to cover your rent as much as possible, and anything after a cleaning fee is $1 in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Like right now, summer in Dubai is super slow. It's like everybody comments like on my videos, just like, what are you gonna do in the summer? What are you gonna do? You're gonna be crushed in the summer. But the thing is, if I set my prices competitive right now, I'm getting booked in the summer. I'm already getting booked like crazy in the summer. Because I have competitive pricing now. But if I wait until the summer comes and everybody's gonna start panicking and lower their prices like crazy, you're gonna be in a brutal price war with everybody. Everybody
just my stories to the bottom. Yeah. I did take a look at your video. You actually priced yourself too low. If you're getting booked in July 6 months from now, it's too low.
Yeah. Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
You want me to raise the prices a little bit?
It's too late now. Your whole counter is booked.
No, it's not. It's not like that. I'm maybe like 20% booked in the summer.
If we have time after this, I'll take a look at it for you. Give some recommendations.
Let's go ahead and take a look at it.
All right.
What about So the pricing settings, like orphan days. Orphan days, are like small gaps in the calendar, maybe 2 days in between bookings that are
Yep.
available. How much of a discount? How aggressive are you?
It depends how close we are to today's date. If it's the same week, I'm discounting it to 70%, 50%, literally $30 a night just to get that revenue in. Anything after my cleaning fee is the money in my pocket. But let's say if it's 2 weeks out from now, if it's 3 weeks out from now and it's an orphan gap, I'll discount about 30 to 40% on that nightly rate.
What about, so what everybody does on Price Lab is that the closer the date comes, the more discount it
Correct.
gets. So for me, I have like a 40% discount over the next 20 days. So as soon as the date is 20 days out, the discount starts hitting.
Yep. But it has to be a gradual discount. It can't
Exactly.
be 40% flat.
Of
It
course.
has to be a gradual 40%.
Yeah. And then as it gets closer, the discount gets higher until it reaches 40% on the same day. What's your discount?
Mine's 70,
70%
Yeah.
over how many days?
21.
21 days.
Yep.
That's really comfortable because then you don't really have to take a look at the calendar because you just know it's going to get booked. I mean, at a 70% discount, it's going to get booked, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, that's good. Anything you want to add
I'm
more
gonna,
about that?
I'm gonna look at I'll look at your price labs after this and
Let's
give you some
go ahead.
recommendations.
For sure.
But generally, like we're in the opposite times, right, in terms of high season, low season. So what I'm doing right now for my slow season, I'll show you and basically we'll implement it. And I can just have you take a screenshot and implement it during your slow season and see how it works out for you.
Do you have the same settings for each market or?
Yeah, I'm pretty much all in the East Coast during slow season. Everything's almost exact same.
Yeah, I gotcha. What about, so when you're setting up units, so you're setting up like 30 units at a time, like in one building, I see you, because for me, I don't even come close to the furniture. I just have a team that sets it up, but I see you on the ground, like buying pizzas for them and like doing it with them. Like, are you just actively there with them or?
It depends, right? Like I'm not gonna stay for the entire 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
I'll stop by, get some tacos for the boys, for drop them off, say what up to everybody, check up on everything. Plus if I live in Dallas, from furnishing units in Dallas, why not? But for example, like right now, my team is furnishing 25 units in Cleveland. Then we're also furnishing another 20 units in Austin. So in those cities, for example, I'm not there. My team is running everything for me. I don't even know what basically is happening. All I see is a report at the end of the day on the progress, timelines, schedules that have to be followed, and to make sure the pictures are taken, everything's listed, and I'll see the final listing when it's fully done.
When you say your team, is that like an in-house team, always the same people?
Everything's in-house. There's no one, third party. Well, in terms of like the actual
Setup.
operations, everything's in-house. Housekeeping, cleaning, it depends on the city. A lot of cities that have my in-house housekeepers, some cities that have external cleaning contractors. Depends on how much volume I have going on in that city and how much of a labor force I can find at a reasonable cost. So for example, like in these two different cities, I have two different teams working on it, but both, have worked with me before. So it's, relatively the same process each time.
Even the people that are setting up your furniture, they're in-house?
No, so they're basically just random people that we've used before on TaskRabbit, Thumbtack. These are like apps basically to find people to work for you, and we just pay them, per unit, per job, and just have them finish up really quick.
I gotcha. And how much are you spending to furnish each unit?
So this is where I think there's a big difference between how much I spend and how much you spend. So how much are you spending right now to furnish a 3-bedroom apartment, including your upfront cost for rent and security deposit?
Okay. Good question. So my furniture, I've been getting it down recently just because...
Give me the prices in dollars.
I got you, yeah. So for 2-bedroom apartments, because I only do 2 or 3-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom apartment for furniture, I spent $12,000.
Okay.
I pay the agent for every unit that I get. I have to pay the agent.
Really?
Yeah, 5% of the year. I have to pay him $2,000,
Okay.
and I also have to pay a $2,000 in security deposit.
Okay.
So we're up to
You're 16.
We're up to 16, and then I have to pay 3 months. So in Dubai, usually, like, how in America you usually pay monthly, the rent monthly.
Right.
In Dubai, the standard is to pay the year up front.
Okay.
But you can negotiate with the landlords to pay it in like 2 payments or 4 payments or 6 payments.
Yeah.
Usually the standard is 4 payments. So that means I have to pay 3 months up front. So that's
Damn.
a big expense.
That's a huge
I know.
expense. That's crazy.
That's the annoying part.
That's why
about
it's so hard to expand so
Yes.
quickly because your cash is gone at the door.
Exactly.
You don't see it. It really, like, your cash and cash return is way longer than mine.
For sure.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do subleasing in Dubai because of my content, but I'm trying
No,
to tell.
dude, I just,
I'm
I just
trying
do
to
the
tell.
math. It's not worth it. The cash and cash return is like so low at that point.
Dude, yeah, I'm trying to tell everybody, start somewhere else. Dubai is
So let
not.
me give you my numbers, for example.
Yeah,
Furnished 2-bedroom apartment. It's, by the way, that's 12,000 with labor or without labor.
that's with labor. Just let me finish the total. So I'm paying so the rent I pay up front is another 11,000. So 11,000 plus 16,
You're about 27K.
$27,000 to set up one unit.
Okay. And how long would it take, or how long does the setup time take?
It's just like 10 days.
Okay. And how long would it take for you to get that $27,000 back in profit? A year?
Like 10 months.
Yeah, about $2,700. I say maybe a little bit more because then you have slow season as well. So let's say about a year. Let's average out to about a year to get that money back. Okay. So I'll give you, and that's assuming no concessions too, right?
Yeah.
So for me, let's say I get 2-month concession. It would take me about $8,000 to actually furnish a 2-bedroom. With labor, let's say you're at 9. Let's just make it 10. Even number, $10,000 with furniture, labor, painting, photography. Yeah, say you're at $10,000. I'm not paying any rent for the next 2 months. No last month's rent. Security deposit, I'll probably negotiate it down to $500, which is on average. Sometimes I get away with no security or even like a $200 security deposit.
I see that.
So now I'm at, $10,500. And for the next 60 days, I have no rent to pay. So every single dollar that I make is pure profit in my pocket. So let's say that unit makes $4,000 in revenue. My profit on that would probably be $3,000 after housekeeping, utilities, and all the expenses. That means over the next 60 days, I'll get $6,000 back. So now my total cost all in is about, let's say, $10K. I only have $4,000 left into that deal, and it might take another 60 days to basically recoup that $4,000. So after about 4 months, I have all my money back. I have no money into the deal, and then I can turn that profit into the next deal.
Exactly. That sounds so much better.
Yeah, it takes me 4 months, and the amount of cash I need to start with is a lot lower.
Yeah.
I only need the first month's rent and furniture. You need 3 months rent plus furniture plus agent's commission plus all these other things involved. And then you do the math, like the cash and cash return, it's a lot lower than mine. Mine's about 200 to 300%. Yours, maybe 20%. It's a lot lower.
Yeah, for sure. But once I set all up all my units, once I'm at 100 units, I'm gonna be making $200,000 a month.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna be setting up all my units.
You can't bypass the agent's commission somehow.
Yeah, you can if you can get
I just want to pay them, bro.
Well, I mean that would get you in trouble.
Oh, true.
But you can't get you can't get data from each building, so you just get the phone number of every.
You can't just go on Google and type the building, get the owner's phone number, or send them an email.
It's possible to get that information. Yeah, it's possible.
Because I just bypass agents right away. I don't even want to talk to them.
But the
I
thing
just talk
is,
to the owners right away.
Maybe I should get into that, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to find, because the thing with Dubai, everybody's spamming these owners.
True.
Dubai is a cold calling freaking hot spot.
Right.
I started working here as a real estate agent for just a couple of weeks, just because I wanted a little community when I moved here. And dude, the competition with just people are cold calling when I sign a lease, I get 20 phone calls from internet companies, and it's just crazy. To get an attention from an owner is just impossible.
You gotta go to the right places where there are, man.
Yeah,
You gotta go to the social clubs. You gotta go to the Palm Jumeirah. You gotta,
Sure, dude.
Gotta go where the high rollers are.
It's for sure. It's possible. I'll probably find a way to do that eventually, but right now it's the most simple just to use the agents.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's just as you scale, because right now when you're furnishing one unit, these costs are really small. But let's say you're doing 20, 30 units at a time, and you have to pay, an agent for 30 units of commission. Dude, I'm not paying that agent. Dude.
Yeah,
you gotta figure out how to get away from that.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out. That's for sure. But yeah, that's a good transition. Like when I asked you earlier if you wanted to do something else, like buying apartments or something like that, because for me, subleasing is not really my passion. What my passion is buying apartments with creative finance.
Okay, so your passion is to make money.
Obviously.
Right? Right now, you're using subleasing. I'm using Arbitrage as a vehicle to get to where we want to go in order to make more income. Right? No one wakes up every single thing. I'm passionate about subleasing.
Oh,
you're passionate about making money.
True, but the
This
thing
is
is,
a vehicle to get there.
the thing is, in Iceland, I bought 7 apartments using creative finance. That's where I find a way to get 100% loan for an apartment. So I don't have to put any
Amazing.
or very little money
Yeah.
down myself. But in Dubai, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
But in America, super easy.
Very easy.
Why are you not doing that?
I told you earlier.
Oh,
remember?
yeah, you already told me. But
Religious,
all right.
religious reasons, you know.
All right,
I
but
try to stay away from interest as much as I possibly can.
I got you. But for me, when I'm done setting up my 100 units here in Dubai, I'm off to America and I'm going to be buying, like with my $200,000 cash flow coming in, I'm going to be buying like crazy on creative finance. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, no, dude, 100%. When you're making $200,000 in net profit a month, so, you know, pretty much opens up the world for you. You can go buy whatever you want at that point. And when you have a mortgage, anyone will lend to you, no problem.
Exactly.
The problem is buying in cash, it's a whole different situation. I need $10 million, $8 million in cash, right, just to buy that building that you'd only need to put 10% down for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing is when you're like, obviously when you get such a high mortgage or a loan for an apartment, the payments are going to be very high. But if you're a very good Airbnb operator like us, no problem, because you're going to make that much more. And
Just to some extent. Like if your rates are really, really high, like right now our rates are 600%,
yeah,
it's still relatively difficult to even cash flow with Airbnb. But it's fine because the saying is, you know, you're just dating the purchase price, but you married. The saying is you're dating the interest rate, but you're marrying the purchase price.
Yeah.
So you know you can always refinance later. That's not a big issue.
Yeah.
Let's say right now you buy at 7%, 6%. You know, a couple years down the road, interest rates fall. You can always refinance, and your rate is a lot lower. The actual price you buy it at is the most important thing, because right now prices are relatively a lot lower than what they were a few years ago. In 2021, where rates were at 2%, 3%. So right now is actually the best time to buy. But obviously, your goal right now is to build your income first. Build your income to $200K a month in profit with your 100 units in Dubai. And at that point, dude, you can go buy literally whatever you want after that.
Yeah, exactly. So how much are you spending to furnish each apartment?
It's about $8,000.
$8,000. Yeah. Yeah. I heard you started like off very low, and then you've been like raising that.
Yeah. So you have to also do the calculation on. So before, when I first started and I had those $800 a month apartments, those really cheap, you know, C-class apartments in Dallas, I was spending $3,000 per unit. And they're making really good money back when competition was a lot lower. Competition has gotten higher and higher, and it's tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
So you actually have to spend money now to actually furnish these apartments, make them look nice. I have a full-time interior designer from Japan that designs a lot of my apartments right now. You're going to see a lot of the new designs she's working on for my next 50-unit deal in Philly. But on top of that, you have to also do the math on how much more will I actually make in relation to how much I'm going to be spending. Because if I spend $8,000 in a 2-bedroom apartment, if I increase the budget at $10,000, will I make an extra $200 a month, or will I not? Right?
Yeah.
Or let's say I spend $10,000 on a 2-bedroom. Let's say I spent $20,000. If I double my budget on furniture, will I make double in revenue? No,
Probably
you
not.
won't.
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna. So it makes no sense sometimes to spend that much money because it's not going to make you any additional revenue. Right? So you also have to look at it, where's that sweet spot between what is the most you'd spend to furnish versus how much is the most you'll be able to charge. The best way to do that is by looking at comps. Looking at comps in the area, seeing their level of quality in furnishings, looking at how much total revenue they're making.
Comps, what do you mean?
Comparables.
Comparables.
Yeah.
You
Looking at the
speak in slang.
Yeah.
You gotta excuse that.
Yeah, so no worries. So comparables is basically you can see how much revenue they're making, and you can look at what their apartment looks like. Look at what their revenues are. That way you know if you want to make similar revenue to their unit, design yours the exact same way. And if you want to make more, design yours a little bit better, sleep more people, add more beds.
Yeah. Because I see a lot of people like just try to go as cheap as possible on the furnishing. I've always been like, just if you spend an extra 10,000 dirhams to make it look really, really good, you're gonna make that back real
100%.
quick.
You'll get that money back. Just don't spend over, you know, because at that point you just spend extra money for no reason. There's a cap on it.
Yeah.
Generally, the saying, right, like the numbers that I've worked out is $10 per square foot. So if I'm furnishing, let's say a 2-bedroom apartment and it's 1,000 square foot, $10 a square foot, it's going to be about $10,000 to get that apartment furnished, looking really nicely on the higher end.
Yeah, gotcha. What do you see are the risks of subleasing?
So there's a few. The first one is, obviously, the biggest one is regulation. Because I know the regulation in Dubai is very relaxed, but in America, it's not the case. Every single city, every single state actually has a completely different set of rules for subleasing. New York City, for example, is pretty much impossible. New York City is actually the one city where if you have an apartment in, let's say, Queens that rents $3,000, you'll make $12,000 in a month. In Toronto, People who have 2-bedroom apartments where the rent is $5,000, they make $15,000 to $18,000 per month in Toronto during the summertime, because those two cities have such high regulation. Not anyone can enter the market, which is a good thing because supply is very capped and it's very constrained. The problem with a lot of markets, like for example, Dubai too, there's nothing stopping from someone like me coming tomorrow and grabbing 400 apartments. There's nothing stopping whatsoever, right? In Chicago, the maximum amount of Airbnbs you can have in any building is 6. So I can't come in tomorrow and grab 300. It's not possible, right? So sometimes these rules actually come into favor because it actually restricts new people from entering the market and making sure, your supply is constrained. When you have markets that have no cap whatsoever, like Houston, for example, nobody in the city makes money. Everybody's basically fighting every single day for that lowest rate possible, and it's really a race to the bottom. So that is one of the biggest risks where if you are in a city, some regulation does come into play where it does cap you. It might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. It depends on how you're positioned.
Mm-hmm. I got you. So say about New York, obviously the regulations are, I think you have to rent your apartment for at least a month.
Long story short, it's basically impossible.
But you say some people are making like 12,000 when the rent is 5,000.
So those are people who are owning that property, and they have really strict rules where like it can only be for 180 days out of the year or a certain amount of times out of the year, and you have to own the property. Your driver's license has to match the address. It's very specific in how you can do it.
Okay, so like those people are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I saw you went to New York like a couple of months back,
Yep.
and you said like I gotta get some units here. Did you mean it or?
There is a way to get past all these regulations. And I don't know how.
Talk about it. Talk to me.
So for give you an example, Boston, for example,
Yeah.
One of my friends, he has, I think 75, 80 units in Boston, and it has really strict restrictions. Okay. I don't know if you know where Boston is, but it's in Massachusetts, and the money there is amazing. Okay. But no one can really do Airbnb there unless you have a license, a hotel license. So big companies like Sonder, that's what they specialize in. They're not really in markets where I am, because a lot of people can just enter those markets without any issues. They're in markets that nobody can enter because they make so much money there. For example, Sonder has an entire building in New York City for Airbnb, entire building. How are they allowed, but someone like you and me are not? It's because they actually spent money, hired an entire legal team to go and get a hotel license for that entire building to convert it to an Airbnb apartment building hotel. Just by doing that alone, from my research, it's cost upwards of 6 figures. Just the actual permitting process, the physical alterations you have to make to the building to get a hotel license, it's big money. So to play in that game, the hotel license game, you have to have big money, right? So my friend who has the 75 units in Boston, he basically got a hotel license, spent a lot of money figuring out what to do for that specific city, and is making crazy money. The rent for a studio is like $3,000, and he's making $8,000 a month on a studio apartment. Right? Because he figured out how to get a hotel license. Just like me. I also figured out how to get a hotel license in Philadelphia. Supply in Philadelphia, so Philadelphia, for example, had a lot of recent regulation where they pretty much cut like 70% of all Airbnbs, completely got delisted. One day I woke up, this was like in August, more than half my portfolio gone from Airbnb. I started fucking panicking. I'm like, holy shit. The other half was fine, but the other half was completely shut off. Luckily, my calendar was booked. This was like in summertime. So for the next 3-4 weeks, I was completely booked. I wasn't worried. I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out. So, contacted lawyers, spent a lot of money, legal teams, basically figured out, went to the city, got all the permits, licenses, and hotel license needed. Now all my units are all 100% legal and in compliance. But, it took a lot. I finally got it done very quickly within a span of 2-3 weeks. Now, though, in New York, for example, just to do that, there's a whole lot of red tape you have to cross, a lot of money you have to spend. I don't even know where to begin. Like, you have to find someone who's really like familiar with that process, who's done it before, that can do something like that for you. So,
or you could just take over a failed operator.
Who's going to fail in New York that already has a hotel license? 100 units in New York is equivalent to like 600-700 units of mine in other cities.
What about buying, like, not necessarily New York? Have you ever thought about taking over a hotel and just become like managing a hotel? Because a lot of hotels, it's not the owners that's managing the hotels.
Yeah.
It's like
third-party companies. Yeah, I thought about that, but at the end of the day, like, the upside is not as great. The main reason is because a lot of hotels are all studio apartments, right? They're essentially just studio apartments. And at that point is like, am I really gonna make that much more money with 50 studio apartments? They don't even have a full-size kitchen in it. They're just essentially rooms. I did the math, and I really wasn't. For example, like my 45-unit building, I have the entire building in Pittsburgh, in downtown Pittsburgh. Entire building is mine. I've master leased the entire thing. I pay almost $80,000 a month for it. And that building makes me a lot of money. It makes me almost, let's say, my rent's around 1550. Do the math real quick. Do 1550 is my rent. I have 45 units. So it's my total rent.
1550?
1550 times 45 units.
Yeah.
Okay, so I pay 70K in rent.
Okay.
And on average, each unit makes about 3,300 a month.
3,300
times 45. But I make about 150K per month. My rent's about 70K. So I'm making at least 2x my rent, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but the thing is, I'm able to charge a lot more and get more booked than a hotel right next to me because I can charge the exact same. My costs are almost the same. My rooms, the studios themselves, are actually bigger than a tiny little room in a hotel.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of beds in each room.
But that's assuming it's a B-class hotel, like, a Fairfield or anything like that. When you're talking, the JWs, the W hotels, the St. Regis's, right, the higher end luxury hotels, obviously that's a completely different situation. You can't compare to that. You have so many other different avenues and incomes, a hotel can beat you at.
Okay, that's a good risk, the regulations, and something that's not really a big risk here in Dubai, I feel like. But the biggest risk I see with subleasing is for me, for example, like 90% of my profits go into just more apartments.
Correct.
Maybe 10% I take out.
Same with mine.
I spend on myself or buy Bitcoin or stuff like that. But as long as I'm expanding, what if I just keep expanding, and at some point a COVID happens or a war happens, and everything comes crashing down. I lose everything.
That's a big possibility.
Before I start taking profits.
Yeah.
Because I want to get
That's
to
why I told you to slow down.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I'm slowing down this year too.
Yeah.
I went from 200. I had 200 apartments last year when the year ended, and I finished off the year at 400. So I expanded from 200 to 400. Just this year, I spent $1.4 million in cash on furniture.
Yeah,
I spent $1.4 million on furniture this year.
Yeah.
In cash, I spent it on furniture.
Yeah, that's my problem too, but at a lower level. But.
So that's the thing, right? Like I talked to my accountants. I looked at myself. I'm like, all right, this year I'm going to finish off these new high-end luxury build-outs I have coming up, these 54 unit deals. Then after that, starting May, no more. I'm just going to chill out for at least 6-7 months, making, literally from like April all the way to November, I'll be doing $1.5 to $2 million a month, taking home at least 30% of that every single month, taking home at least $500,000 profit every month.
What are you going to do with that?
Nothing. Sit with it, not expand, and do absolutely nothing and stack cash.
You're not going to put it into some interest rate account or
nothing. Keep it in a bank account.
You're not going to buy Bitcoin?
Nope. Nothing. I lost $500,000 in Bitcoin, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you buy?
So I put $10,000 into an altcoin called Harmony One. Okay. This was an IEO coin. This is before Bitcoin went to 60K.
Yeah.
And then that $10,000 shot up to $500,000. And my whole family's yelling at me saying, Humza, sell it. Humza, sell it. Everyone's going crazy. And I told my family, guys, relax. Okay. I went to 500K in 3 weeks. I go to $1 million next week. And obviously that didn't happen. Yeah. Bitcoin went down from 60K down to like 40, 30 something K. And that altcoin crashed to the absolute floor. And then it became, literally, I kid you not, I woke up one morning, went from 500 to like 350. I'm like, oh shit. My whole family was yelling at me. The next day, I went to 275. The next day, 180. Every day, I just keep losing 50K. And I'm in like straight constant denial. I'm like, dude, what the heck's happening? And eventually, I went to like literally nothing. But that's good though. It's a learning lesson for me. It built a high stress tolerance. It built a huge mental thing in my mind where I'm okay with losing money because at the end of the day, it's all part of the game of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, for me, I put a lot of my profits last summer into Bitcoin, and I'm at about 4 Bitcoins now, and I'm just going to keep that.
Bitcoin just fell hard recently, did it not?
Yeah, I mean, after a big raise, so it's fine. Like, I'm just going to keep it.
Would you not rather have that cash, like that money in hand right now in the bank account, in cash, in case of a downturn, or for a big opportunity coming up that might happen?
So the thing is, if I want to have something else other than the subleasing. I want, say the subleasing thing just comes crashing down.
But why? Why would it come crashing down?
I don't know. Black Swan event, you never know.
Black Swan event, bro. There's going to be a lot of opportunity being created as well.
True, but then I can sell my Bitcoin and...
So that's assuming if that Bitcoin is going to be worth anything in a Black Swan event.
True. That's a good point. That's a good point as well. But maybe I'll stack... But it's so hard to just stack cash and have it in the bank and do nothing.
No, it's not.
It feels just so bad.
You haven't made a lot of cash yet to actually feel that yet.
I guess
when you have 10, 20, 30, 40 million in the bank in cash, all right, now I have a problem. The amount of cash you're talking about is very small. Like, no offense, but like realistically speaking,
exactly.
the people that I talk to, they don't even think about it unless they have 10 million in cash sitting in the bank right now.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, I need to do something with this cash.
Yeah.
Until you have at least 10 million in cash in the bank, you should be fine.
Exactly. At my level, I should just be taking risks. I can, if I lose everything today, I can make it back in 3 years.
Not even
it's
that.
fine.
You're 28, dude.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have a family to support. You don't
Doesn't
have
matter.
kids. You don't have a wife. You have nothing right now.
Yeah.
You're chilling. Take as many risks as possible, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I always told my friends in Iceland, my goal is to get bankrupt before 30.
I'll give you one piece of advice.
Yeah.
And this is the best piece of advice I can possibly give you. If you're not at the risk of bankruptcy at the end of every single month, you're not growing.
Yeah, okay.
And I live by that every month. I'm living it right now, this month too. If you're not at the risk of bankruptcy every single month, you're not growing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like you. You got a similar mindset.
Yeah,
to
I have
me.
a balls to the wall mentality, man. Go hard or go home.
Exactly. But yeah. What mistakes do you see that I'm making in like subleasing? Like, have you seen anything that you were like, dude, this guy's gotta change that?
I don't really know too much about your numbers, right? I have to
Yeah.
look at your financials and look at what the actual numbers are in terms of what you're making. Obviously, pricing being the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest one that a lot of people don't understand yet to a high level because they haven't a lot of experience with pricing, right? They haven't even experienced a one full market cycle because you just started in August. So you have no idea what your booking is going to be for the next 6 months. You have no historical data to compare it to. You don't know how much a unit made last year, so you have no idea what to expect in terms of what to price it at, right? When you have, let's say, a year or 2 years of historical data that you can actually see, that you can compare it to, then you make better decisions and, you know, make adjustments as needed. Right now, you're just throwing darts on a board and basically seeing where it lands, which is not bad. You have to. You don't have any other data to really look at, right? So that is one thing that you should probably pay a little bit more attention on is pricing. Learn a little bit more what you can about hotel management and revenue management. Those are big, I think, topics you should focus on. They'll help you with your business a lot in terms of maximizing revenue. And the second one is learning how to actually build teams offshore, lean teams offshore. Front desk, for example, recently went bankrupt because they had a huge staff of US-based employees, $60,000 a year, healthcare, benefits, payroll taxes, insane amount of overhead, right, for US employees. We can just hire a VA in the Philippines for $5 an hour and do the exact same job and be more appreciative and do a better job realistically, right? So you want to keep your corporate overhead as low as possible because right now your average profit, let's say, is $2,000 a month, right, per unit. If you analyze it, that's going to drop over time because you're going to have to hire more people, which is fine. That's the nature of business. So let's say you get 200 apartments. Your margin's not going to be 2,000 per unit. It's probably going to be around 1,500, maybe 13 to 1,400. You're going to have a city manager. You're going to have runners. You're going to have more VAs, right? So overall, the overall operational complexity will increase, but your margins are going to decrease. That's just a given, but you will make more money because you have more units, if that makes sense. That's the thing. Like, you're going to see your margin decrease over time, but it's not a big deal as long as you're staying lean as possible and your apartments are still generating a good, high enough revenue.
Yeah. Gotcha. What about, so I've kind of asked you all the strategy questions I want to ask, but what about, like, now that you've set up so many apartments, what's your lifestyle like? How much do you work? How much of your day is working? How much?
Yeah, so since the baby was born 8 months ago, I'm probably doing maybe 3 hours a week, 2 hours a week at the very max. Because I've been busy with the baby and stuff. But honestly, life comes in seasons for me. So I have grind seasons where I'm like, going all in 8-10 hours a day, nonstop. I got so much work to do, so many things I'm working on. And then there's seasons where I have literally nothing to do and I'm super bored. Like summertime, dude, I'm like crazy bored. I have nothing to do because I'm just making money, right? The calendars are all booked. And there's nothing for me to even work on. The money's coming in. And that's when I start thinking in my head, should I buy this car, that car? Should I move here, buy that? And then, you start getting really bored. Wintertime is when the deals come, the opportunity comes, and that's when your cash flow starts going down and you start getting on the offensive. You start, dialing down your systems even more and you start, really paying close attention. Summertime, life is chill, maybe an hour a week at the very max. And that's really it, to be honest. Like I'm not one of those like Twitter money guys that just, goes to Miami on a yacht with like 7 girls around them. But I'm a family guy, I have a wife and daughter. I like to chill at home with the kid and with the wife and, just that's pretty much it. So I spend a lot of my time really on the business. I go to the gym. I play basketball 4 or 5 times a week, play pickup games, and that's pretty much it. Just work on business, man. I like making money and I like, playing sports, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I mean, you have like multiple hundred apartments, but you don't, your teams are just that good that you don't really have to work on it.
I don't even have the Airbnb app on my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the goal.
Oh, yeah.
I tell every single person, until the Airbnb app is off your phone, you're not an owner, you're an operator. right?
Exactly.
You're not an owner, you're an operator if you still have the Airbnb app on your phone.
Yeah. Do you do the pricing yourself or do your virtual assistants do it?
Not even virtual assistants. I hire a professional revenue manager, 2 guys from China. They basically run my entire revenue management for me.
Are they good?
Yeah.
Are they better than you?
Yeah, 100%.
Why are they better than you?
I guess that's all I focus on. If you dedicate your time 100% on something, you're going to be better than me at it, right? Yeah. Because if my company, let's say for example, the cap my company has is my skill level, right? It will never exceed because my skill level is only at a certain point in that specific niche of revenue management. So in order for my company to make more money, I either have to bring myself to a higher skill level or hire someone that knows a lot more than I do. So as a founder, as a CEO, you have to put on many hats. Is it worth the ROI of my time to go spend the next, 3-6 months, 10 hours a day learning revenue management to a high hotel level? Or just hire someone who's a lot better than I do and focus on other aspects, such as expansion and growing and whatnot. I have enough base level knowledge and high enough knowledge and everybody around me, but I have enough knowledge to basically keep up with them and see if they're doing something wrong or doing something incorrectly. I can call it out.
True, yeah. Yeah, that's probably something that I got to get into because a lot of my time goes into making sure the pricings in every unit is correct. And I probably am doing some mistakes because I'm not following.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I've done a lot of trial and error and it's going very good for me. I'm getting better every single month. Every single month I'm getting better. But still, I mean, I'm making some mistakes because I haven't really learned this from anybody. I'm just doing my own trial and error. Yep. And after 3 years, I've learned a lot and gotten very good. But I'm sure somebody that's been doing this for 10 years and this is the only thing he does, it's better.
Of course, right? And that's the thing is I'd rather hire these 2 guys from China to do my revenue management for me, pay them $100,000 a year. If they're, thinking about $100,000 a year, it sounds like a lot, but if I'm making $1.5 million a month, it's not really a lot.
$100,000 a year?
Yeah.
They're from China?
Yeah.
You can't find anyone in the Philippines that just does it?
No, they're in America, but they're from China. They're Chinese is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But they're so they're really good, I guess. And do they do this for other people or just full time for you?
Full time.
Okay.
They have about 2 other people, but I'm the main person I work with them.
Okay. And how did you know they were good? How did you just trust them? Because this is such a big thing to hand over.
So first started them off with a smaller part of my portfolio. We did a split test really, where at that time I think I had 150, 200 units, and I told them, hey, I'm going to give you these 100 units and I'm going to do the other 100 units. And after 60 days, let's see who actually does better. And they beat me.
They did?
Yeah.
By a lot?
And it wasn't just random apartments. It was this is a building that's 20 units. I'll take 10. You take 10. I'll take 5 1 beds and 5 2 beds. You take 5 1 beds, 5 2 beds. And we'll see who does better. And we literally compared every single building. After 60 days, they beat me in every single building. All right, you guys are hired.
Yeah. But what kind of experience did they have?
Just hotel revenue management, man. Yeah. The people who... for example, Marriott hires revenue managers for each area. So they pay them 6-figure salaries just for revenue management for 3 hotels in one area. Airlines have revenue managers, right? Airlines have dynamic pricing. So a lot of people who are working in revenue management for airlines, Delta, American Airlines, Emirates, a lot of that knowledge and experience translates over to hotel revenue management as well. Hotel revenue management is a lot more complicated than STR revenue management.
What I think is funny,
STR management is actually pretty easy. Hotel revenue management is a lot harder.
I bet, but you can never find any information on that. Nobody's talking.
You can. They have systems where you can.
But can you find it on YouTube? Just how to?
No one's making videos about it.
No, why not?
What's the point? There's no one trying to open up a next Marriott, right?
Does nobody want to? Oh yeah, because who's gonna follow it?
That's what I'm saying.
The market's so small.
It's not even that. There's such a high barrier of entry. It's not really worth someone's time to make videos on it. There's a lot of courses you can take and online education platforms, but to the average person, what are they gonna use that information for?
Yeah, true. Exactly. There's one guy like me and you that would maybe take a look at it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I got you. So. Where's for me, even though I work maybe 4 hours a day or something, my head is constantly on it's very hard for me to think about something else. Do you feel the same, or are you just can you just zone out and just?
No, I'm pretty much not really involved in the day to day. I have no idea what's happening at all in terms of the business on a day to day basis. I have no clue. For example, on Sunday we might have 350 cleans and checkouts in every single city. I have no idea. If anything's damaged, anything's broken, anyone's smoking in the unit, I don't even know about it. I don't even hear about it. I have no clue whatsoever. I just live my life because I have SOPs and systems in place. In case that does happen, there's a standard operating procedure of what to do in case it does happen, how to rectify it, and how to solve it. And my VAs are super, super good at their job. They run literally everything.
What does your wife think about all this? What are the risks that you're taking?
Dude, she started everything with me, man. When we first started, we started that first house together. We were cleaning literally by like every apartment by ourselves. I was cleaning the bathroom, she was cleaning floors. We were literally doing everything ourselves. Then our second unit, we were building furniture together by ourselves. Literally ordering Domino's pizza late night, having fun, and just furnishing apartments. We did that for the first 6, 7, 8 units. When I actually expanded to Dallas, I was still working my 9 to 5 job at that time, and now in Philadelphia. So I left my wife all alone for a month in Dallas to hire furniture builders, hire cleaners, interview cleaners.
So
and I would
she's
fly back
involved.
every single weekend back in the day. But I would fly back and forth every single weekend just to make sure everything's being done. Finally had a team, flew back to Philly, and she was done. She really got pushed out of the business after about 50 units once the VAs got involved. Once the VAs got involved, there was really no point of having that anymore, because the whole job for me was to take myself out of the business completely. Because my goal was never to be an operator, is to be an owner.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, but she likes it. At the end of the day, the lifestyle just changed completely. We went from literally on the way here, we went from flying skip leg and Spirit Airlines to flying first class Emirates, $20,000-$30,000 tickets.
Yeah.
Just tickets alone, I flew my whole family out from Canada to Dubai. My wife and I to Dubai. Spent $70,000 just on Emirates tickets, right, for us. So the lifestyle now has completely changed.
Do you always fly business class now?
Yeah. Well, international, always business or first class.
What about just domestic?
Domestic, I don't care. It's literally an hour to hour and a half, 2 hour flight. There's literally zero difference, barely any difference between first class and regular. You're literally sitting right behind them.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah. Is it just because the flights are so short that?
Yeah, the flights are so short. It's literally an hour and a half, 2 hour flight. That's it.
Yeah. All right, man. So last thing I wanted to talk to you about is you're helping a lot of people do the same thing.
Yep.
You have courses, you have mentorships. How does that all work? Say if I was coming to America and I would want to set up 10 or 20 units. Say I would want your mentorship. What is the program like? How much is your course? How much is a full-on mentorship?
So the mentorship, basically, this is exactly what the onboarding looks like. So I think right now I have about a total of 1,500 students. My mentorship students are the one that have the most amount of units. I have some students now who have about 60 units, 50 units, some have 70 units. There's students that I just met up with in Miami recently. They're doing 100,000 a month, 150K a month. So a lot of them started with zero, but they had experience in other businesses, and all they needed was the knowledge and the information that I have to just skip all the mistakes and speed up the process. And now they're doing $1 million a year, no problem. So for example, my mentorship, I charge $20,000 to $25,000. And then from there, basically you get access to my entire community. You go through my entire program. My program I just built out recently for 2024 because Airbnb has changed a lot over the last 2 years. So it's the most up-to-date Airbnb course program you'll ever find. Once you go through the entire program, now you're gonna have a VA assigned to you that's fully trained by my team and I to help you actually cold call and find buildings. That VA, then all you have to do is literally tell them the city and the zip codes, and they'll go through every single building, MLS listing. They'll do the entire cold outreach process for you using my outreach system. And once that happens, they'll actually mark down every single landlord they're outreach to as hot lead, warm lead, or cold lead. You'll use the scripts I provide to actually then go on the phone and actually close those deals. Then I basically hop on a Zoom call with you to see if building A is better than building B. Is building C more popular than building A? Is a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom better? I basically make sure you sign a good deal and help you negotiate concessions along the way, holding your hand along every single step. Then after that, basically I'm available on call for whatever you need. The minute your unit gets listed on Airbnb, I do your entire process for you. Even if you need VAs, I have some VAs I can send to you. I basically make sure that they succeed no matter what. And after the 10, 15 unit mark, they get really good at what they need and really quickly because they're not making mistakes. All the mistakes that I made are pretty much, they know about it already. So they're basically evading those to scale as quickly as possible.
Okay, damn. So it's like $25,000 and you just get full access to your head and accountability. And
yeah, for example, if someone told me I had to pay, let's say $25,000 to get access to the CEO of Sonder, I'd pay $100,000 because that speed up the learning curve for me so quickly.
Yeah.
If I went into New York and to LA and to Boston, I'd have to ask him 4 or 5 questions and I could start making millions of dollars over the next year, right?
How many people do you have that have bought this program?
A lot.
A lot? Like 100 plus?
Yeah.
Dang. But isn't a lot of your time going towards this, making sure everybody's happy?
Yeah, so definitely getting people happy is the biggest thing. And that's why I make sure I provide as much value as I can upfront on the front end. That way, when you do need me, it's for high level questions. Like no one's calling me asking me, Humza, what's your name of my company? I already tell students that if you ask me that question, I'm not replying to you.
Yeah.
It has to be thought provoking, high level questions. But if you are in like a crazy situation or scenario, I'm basically there to help you out along the way.
I gotcha. Because for me, like I've been growing a lot on Instagram. I've been getting like for the last 30 days, I've been getting like 1,000 followers every single day.
Yeah,
so it's growing fast.
Yep.
And I've been thinking like, should I do something to like make money from that as well? Because everybody's asking me for, or not everybody, a lot of people are asking for a course or mentorship. People are literally just asking me in the DMs, do you have a paid mentorship program?
Yeah. That's why I started it too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people saw that the business that a lot of people are shilling on social media is fake. They don't have a real business. It's bullshit. It's complete cap. They don't have any Airbnbs. They have 2 or 3, 4 or 5. Their knowledge is very base level, suboptimal garbage knowledge in the first place. And they're like, this is garbage. Then you see me with 30 my amigos furnishing 25, 30 apartments, getting things built out in the trenches, getting everything done, seeing actual payouts from Airbnb of $1 million a month. I'm like, all right, this guy's legit. Do you have a mentorship? I'm like, all right, let me actually, start doing it and start, doing the mentorship. But it's like, what's the value of my time, right?
Yeah.
As I scale the business and, towards 1,000 units, the value of my time becomes a lot more expensive. So originally when I started, I was charging like $300, So eventually over time, I worked it all the way to 20,000.
Yeah. So you start slow. And because for me, there's 3 things I'm worried about. If I do this like course thing. So first of all, it's going to take a lot of my time, and I'm like so protective of my time. It's crazy.
Correct.
Second is, is it going to like make me look like salesy and, because for me, I just want to grow my audience. That's what I enjoy.
There's one big thing that you're not thinking about.
Yeah.
You have a high chance of cannibalizing your own Airbnbs. The reason is because if I sell a mentorship to somebody in Alabama or Georgia or Atlanta, I don't care. I'm not in that city. The United States is so big, right?
Yeah.
You're in Dubai, only in Dubai. The only people they're going to buy from you are the people in Dubai because you're the only person doing it here, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, you're going to be creating competition for yourself in the same building,
exactly,
across the street.
Yes.
And that's basically going to drive your margins down a lot. That's the biggest issue you have. You're so local in such a hyper competitive niche city.
And the third thing is like subleasing in Dubai is not easy.
Correct.
So I'm like worried, am I going to be able to make these guys happy?
Correct.
Because I'm just worried that people are going to buy my program.
And then you're going to be like, yo, that's not as easy as I thought. It's way more complicated. I want a full refund. Just like you wanted from,
from Ryan Pineda.
Yeah.
But and also like, because it's so hard and there's only like very certain areas that make sense and work and special criteria that you have to do to make this work, then I'm just going to have them do exactly what I'm doing in the exact same building.
Exact same real estate agent, exact same contracts. And it's like, dude, I'm just creating competition for myself.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, I'm still creating a lot of competition for myself with the just the things I'm posting.
Not really, because you're not going to the specifics.
Yeah.
Like one thing I would probably recommend you'd never do is you keep saying the name of your buildings every single time in your.
People are gonna figure that out anyway.
You'll be surprised. A lot of people are dumb.
Okay, maybe I'll stop.
Trust me, don't do that anymore. Stop putting the name of your buildings. Don't put the link of your listings. For example, have you ever seen me ever say, "Hey guys, book my Airbnb"? Have you ever seen my listings anywhere?
No.
Have you ever seen me ever mention the building name, or even in general? Here's the link to my profile. Never once.
Good point.
Never once.
Maybe I'll do that. But the thing is, I value having an audience more than making a little more money. Like there's 2 types.
So you like to be famous?
I mean, that's currency. Like having an audience.
Yeah.
Imagine if I grow my following to 1 million followers. I'm not going to be subleasing in Dubai forever.
Of course.
I'm going to be subleasing 100
brand
apartments.
matters. Brand value matters a lot over the long run.
So I'll make a little less money because I'm creating competition for myself.
Yeah.
But I'm growing my audience, and that's going to be so much more valuable in the long run. You know what I mean? So a lot of people ask me, why are you doing this? Why are you telling everybody what you're doing? Because I value being credible. I value the audience.
Start posting your monthly profit and loss statements every month. It makes you credible. Documenting the journey along the way, the ups and downs. Trust me, dude. Just keep copying my Instagram, bro. You'll be good.
Yeah, man.
You have to be authentic and show everybody basically the behind the scenes. Pull the curtain back and be like, this is exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. If I F up, I F up. You guys learn from it. Don't make that mistake. And that's how you build an audience.
Yeah. All right, we got about 3 or 4 minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
Anything you want.
I've been asking you all the questions. Hit me up.
So Since you broke up with your girlfriend recently, have you been back in the market looking for a new girlfriend in Dubai? How's the dating scene in Dubai?
So, it's the thing with Dubai, it's a little strange because there's a lot of competition in Dubai. Like, so how I think about this in Iceland, where I'm from, like, there's the guys. Everybody's pretty much the same. There's not a lot of guys that have a lot of money that are very successful, like stuff like that. But the girls are very beautiful.
Right.
But here, it's like everybody that moves here, or a lot of people that move here, are very successful.
Yep.
Have a lot of money.
Yep.
So for guys, there's a lot more competition. So it's like,
But let me ask you this: do you want then to marry a woman who only wants a guy who has a lot of money?
No.
So why not go look for a girl back home in Iceland who has no, experience in this type of world in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I would think Iceland's a much better place to find a girlfriend than
Find a
Dubai.
wife, not a girlfriend.
Okay, I got you. But I'm only been here 7 months, so I've only been single for like 2 months.
That's true.
So I'm still.
You want to basically enjoy your life a little bit and enjoy.
Well, I'm just trying to figure
you're
out.
28. You want to wait 2 more years of having fun, then settle down. I get it.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm still just figuring out what the dating life is like in Dubai. Like, I can't give you like a good answer. Of what
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But those are my thoughts.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, it's I mean, I think I'm in a good spot. It also makes it a little bit easier when you have like social media going, because then people can get to know you so much easier. Like, imagine if
find a wife on social media, man. That's also more.
I mean,
it's more cloud. Like, hey, I'm famous on social media. A lot of girls want you for that too.
Not like that, but just like, imagine if I had nothing. Like, imagine how much harder it would be to like talk to girls online.
Of course.
But because I have like 100 videos of just me talking like very openly, they can like get to know me. They can just see that what I'm about, what I'm like, and it just makes it a lot easier.
One thing I will tell you though is I'm very, very happy that I got married before I got rich.
Yeah.
Because I know I married the person for the right intentions. When you have a lot of money and you're driving that Lambo, you're making, millions of dollars, I promise you the person that wants you isn't really for what you think they want you for. It makes it a lot harder.
But I think
a lot harder.
I think you can kind of tell a little bit.
It's just there's always going to be some level of doubt, because girls want you for the lifestyle that they can provide you, right? Because they see the lifestyle you're living, like, all right, I want that lifestyle. Rather than, oh, I'm broke, I have no money, I'm a student, I'm making $18 an hour, working at, the gas station. That's not something that a girl basically wants to marry unless you actually really, really, really love you that much. And I'm very happy I got married at 22 because I was broke, dude. I had nothing. So I married my wife and we got married, because we actually liked each other, right? And there's no money involved, no nothing. My wedding ring that I bought my wife was $700, bro, from the clearance section of Kohl's. It's like a big chain department store, right? And to this day, she still has that $700, wedding ring, because for us, money wasn't really important back then. It was more just getting married was more important.
Yeah. Exactly.
So before you get more rich, get married first.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. I think we're done. Thank you so much for coming. This was a very good conversation, and maybe we'll do it again when you come.
When I come back to Dubai next winter, I'll do it. I think next winter I'm going to come for at least 2 months. I was talking to my wife today. I'm like, I really enjoy being here.
Yeah.
2 days is definitely not enough. I think next winter I'm going to be here for at least all of January and all of February.
Yeah.
Escape that freezing cold.
Yeah, that's smart, man.
Yeah. All right, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Thanks
Appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank you, guys.